everyone, how's it going? It's CK Burch here. Welcome to another installment of my Geek review. I'm looking at the date. I haven't done one in like 6 or 7 months because I'm lazy. So I'm sorry. Also, yeah, life just kind of happens, you know? Also, no beer, just this time around, just remnants of a protein shake that I had. And I poured some water on top of it because I'm thirsty. So anyways, hi. I'm trying something different. I'm recording this on my camera phone. The phone in question being an HTC Rime, which is the only camera, the only smartphone that I can think of which is specifically marketed towards women. Why? I don't know. It's interesting because in the little manual that comes with the smartphone, there is like pictures. It's like, oh, you can put this in your purse, and there's a little charm that you can plug in and have it dangling out your pursy dangle thing, so that when you get a call or something, it can blinkety blink and look purple and femme. I got the phone because I broke my other phone and I needed one, and so I just grabbed this one and I had no idea what I was getting into, and then I read the thing and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why? I mean, it's a purple colored phone, which I don't care about purple. Purple is like my dad's favorite color, so it's like, well, okay, whatever, but I don't get why it's it's like, this is a woman phone. Why? Is there a difference? I always thought phones were androgynous, personally. Gender neutral things. But this one is apparently a woman phone. It makes calls like every other phone. So, and it is recording video and recording sound just like any other phone as well. So, score 1 for the ladies. The woman phone does everything a man phone can do, or rather, a gender-neutral phone can do. And there's your random tangent of the day. Hi! I wanted to talk about The Hobbit, so that's what I'm going to do. Yay! The Hobbit was awesome. It was majestic. It was a great film. Let me precursor my review of The Hobbit with a quick breakdown of how I felt about the Lord of the Rings films. The Fellowship of the Ring is personally the greatest film experience. And I say experience because it covers a wide range of emotions, but it's the best film I have ever seen. From acting, directing, score, special effects, story, plot, writing, it is brilliant, it is emotional, it is a complete and total package. It is the best film I have ever seen, which is sad because Two Towers is a terrible film experience. I've never liked the Two Towers. I've seen it a couple times. I've never been able to get into it. And Return of the King, while having moments of grandeur, is very flawed. But the ending recaptures that beauty and majesty that Fellowship of the Ring had. So I went in with low expectations for The Hobbit. And I walked out thoroughly entertained. I felt it was an incredible film, well written, a majestic piece of entertainment. You're going to hear that word a lot, majestic, because that is how the film is. It is wide in scope. It is tightened down into a very personal story for a couple of characters, and at the same time, it is sweeping entertainment. It is a fantastic film. It's an experience. It's the type of film that you have to see in theaters. I personally went and saw The Hobbit in IMAX 3D. It was my first IMAX film, and it was something of a religious experience. The format, however, did not cloud my attention to the details of the film itself. If anything, it really put a spotlight on how great the film was and that it worked. It could have been spectacularly dull. It could have been totally overdone and overblown, and many people actually feel like it was, and I don't understand why. And here's why. Because when I walk out of a film, I immediately gauge how I feel after the film. And I base it kind of like how you would feel after a meal. How did you feel? Were you satisfied? Were you left wanting? Was leaving with a bad taste in your mouth? I left The Hobbit feeling full and satisfied, and I felt very warm, and I felt very good. Well, let's compare and contrast this to, like, say, The Dark Knight Rises and Prometheus. Prometheus, I was at least entertained by, and I could sit down and watch again. But overall, walking out of Prometheus, I didn't feel like I was completely satisfied with what I had seen. Walking out of The Dark Knight Rises, I was miserable. I did not like that film. I loved the ending, but I did not like the film as a whole, because the film did not work. Yet a lot of people praise The Dark Knight Rises. Hobbit I walked out of, and I felt grand. I felt great. I felt like I had spent my money well. I felt like I was thoroughly entertained. I'm looking forward to purchasing this one on Blu-ray. And yet a lot of people complained about the runtime and the padding, and they felt it was boring, and I don't get those complaints. And here's why I don't get those complaints. From the perspective, of story. Everything in this film was used. There was nothing that was thrown in that wasn't unnecessary. And a lot of people will say, well, oh, yes, there was. But let's look at it from the perspective of the film itself. What I think is going on here is that we're having a fan backlash in a way, which is a reverse of what happened with Lord of the Rings. With Lord of the Rings, they're like, where's Tom Bombadil? I don't see any of these missing derp-herbs. And in this one, it's like, why is this scene thrown in here? I don't understand why they put it in. There's going to be changes in adaptations, and I've read The Hobbit. I didn't read the Lord of the Rings books because they were fucking boring, and they read like textbooks, and people love them, great, go for it. I don't like reading textbooks. That's why I don't read the Lord of the Rings novels. The Hobbit was a very charming, humorous, just like very, very quick and easy read, and I really enjoyed it because it was vivacious and it just leapt off the page and it kept me interested. So I knew going into The Hobbit, the film, after having read the book, that there probably wasn't going to be too much that surprised me, but actually there was, because of inclusions of scenes from some of Tolkien's other novels and other works, and this wide world that he created and built upon and breathed life into. So the inclusions of that material is, that's fine. You know, if you're going to add, if they were going to add material, at least they added material that was pulled in from other sources. And superfluous things that they added, such as, I believe, from what I understand, Azark, the white troll that Thorin battles throughout the film, he is not anywhere in Tolkien's writings. That's my understanding. I might have missed something. I didn't do a ton of research into it, but from what I read, he's an original creation, and he works. He works fantastically within the film. So you have Azark. You have this addition who is a thorn in Thorin's side, pun intended. You have the inclusions of Radagast and the Necromancer, and the meeting with, spoilers, the meeting with Saruman and Galadriel and Elrond, and there's all these like little bits and pieces that allude to what's going to happen in the Lord of the Rings films, and I loved that, because The Hobbit is not a prequel. The story of The Hobbit takes place before The Lord of the Rings, so this is not necessarily a prequel. But in the cases of film franchises that do prequels, I'm looking at you, Star Wars, where they put films set before the story that we already know. There are bits and pieces and things that don't line up because they go, oh, we're going to do this cool thing, but that they don't recognize what came before, and they don't try to line it up at all. The Hobbit does that, and it does it so well that you could watch the Hobbit films before the Lord of the Rings films and totally enhance the experience of everything all together. Now, maybe I'm jumping the gun because we don't have the second and third Hobbit films out yet, but if if the first Hobbit film is any indication of how they're lining it up and they're going to make it work as one continuous saga, then this is it's amazing, and they did it. And hats off, because that could have been fucked up so easily. But I felt like the pacing was great. You know, we're introduced to the plight of the dwarves, and like in the book The Hobbit, we get this brief introduction to the dwarves, and we're told about their plight and about what happened at Erebor and the dragon Smog and all that jazz, and you're kind of like, okay, this is what they're doing. The way that The Hobbit opens and they actually show that destruction and they show what happened to the dwarves, it makes it so much more personal. You're actually a little bit more invested in the dwarves than you are in the book. In the book, you're just kind of running around with Bilbo and these other dwarves who are after their gold. And in here, it makes a much more personal plight. And I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed all the build-up. I liked the opening because of that. I liked the opening because it shows us older Bilbo, played again by Ian Holm. And they show us, you know, it's great because, again, it's the lining up of the films and the franchise. It shows Bilbo just before the party in Fellowship of the Rings, his birthday party, and now he's writing this tale down so that he can give it to Frodo. And it's great, just those little bits and pieces. But I felt like the pacing was perfect. I felt like Martin Freeman as young Bilbo was masterful, absolutely perfect. He's not like, you know, he's not like Frodo. Frodo was very kind of like, Bilbo is very much. Well, and he's very clever. He's very clever. Frodo had a strong heart and a lot of willpower. He might not have been the most stout-hearted, but he had a strong heart and devotion and willpower. And Bilbo is very clever type of hobbit, so he's a different type of hobbit. And I felt like, you know, his story was covered very well. Oh, man. I mean, there's so much to go through with the film, and there's a lot that happens. And, you know, I heard a lot of people say that they felt like they took a nap during the film. They could have caught up on a lot of sleep, and I totally disagree. Everything about this is entertaining. Every scene, even the smaller scenes, even the, like, whimsical scenes, which, you know, I thought that this was going to be more geared towards the kids, and I was really afraid for some, like, slapstick and some, like, over-the-top exaggerated stuff. And some people complained about that, but I really don't feel that there's any merit to those complaints, because I did not see anything in here that made me feel like, oh, this is a kid's movie, blah, 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 blah. Like, even the stuff that's kind of, like, kiddie is, you know, it really works well, because it isn't just set up as, like, that kind of stupid kid-type humor that you would find in, like, Nickelodeon films. It's genuinely humorous, because this is a more whimsical type of story than The Lord of the Rings, which is very dire. It's like that the entirety of the world, good versus evil, is on the line in the Lord of the Rings films. And The Hobbit is a story of, it's high adventure in, like, the strictest terms. And it's far more whimsical, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's silly. Even Radagast the Brown, who's eaten too many mushrooms, is far more whimsical feeling, and not so much a stupid, silly character. But, like, you know, he provides a little bit of humor, and that's great. There were characters in The Lord of the Rings who provided that same feat. No one cared. No one complained. High praise all around. The action sequences are great. The special effects are amazing. I did not get the sense that it was like a video game, like a lot of people heard. Like, this is one of the few times in which I listened to a lot of people before I went and saw the movie. I don't know if you can tell that. But I don't get the sense of, like, video game sensibility surrounding the action sequences. If anything, the only criticism I would have is that they felt a little bit, they felt a little bit predictable. You know, it's like, here we are, oh shit, we're fucked, how are we going to get out of this? Hey, we got out of this, let's escape. That's basically how most of the fight scenes are, but the way that they play out feels very fresh and unique each time around. It's just a fantastic film. Like, this is one of those films where it's difficult for me to go on at length in detail about the very nitpicky specifics of it, because enjoyed everything about it. You know, the battle between the mountain giants was really fucking cool. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, I thought about Clive Barker's fantastic short story. In the hills, the cities. Oh, I can't think of the title. I'm sorry. But Clive Barker has this amazing short story where it's about these two towns where they build giants, but each giant is like every person in the town. They're like all hooked together, and they're like making this actual literal giant by holding on to each other, and the two giants fight, and it's cool. And that's what I thought of in this sequence. But like, man, the mountain giants were very, very cool. Everything in this movie was very cool. It was just like a wonder, and it's rare, I feel nowadays, to just watch a film and be knocked back by pure beauty, majesty, and spectacle. And it's intelligent as well. It doesn't treat the audience with an insulting viewpoint, as a lot of films do. A lot of films insult the audience. Dark Knight Rises insulted the audience. Prometheus insulted the audience. There's a lot of films. Cabin in the Woods insulted the audience. Alright? Just... Oh, I hated that film. Don't get me started on that. I already did a review. Ugh, fuck. Hobbit doesn't insult the audience. It doesn't treat you stupid. It treats you very smartly. It welcomes you in. It says, come along with us. And it takes you on this great journey. And it's a wonderful spectacle. It is a wonderful piece of beautiful, joyous, energetic filmmaking. And until I saw The Hobbit, I thought that maybe Fellowship of the Ring was either a fluke, or Peter Jackson had just put all of his best effort into Fellowship and just couldn't live up with The Two Towers or with Return of the King. Now, I mean, I'm an unabashed fan of his version of King Kong. A little bit silly in places, King Kong was. But only a couple of scenes, and outside of that, I thought it was a brilliant film. I loved King Kong. So, yeah, there you go. The Hobbit is a fantastic film. IMAX 3D all the way. And you know what? I'm very glad I got to see it in IMAX 3D. It really opened me up to how the format is and how much can be done with that format, especially in 3D. I'm not a big fan of 3D, but it really works in IMAX. So I'm really excited to go back and see some more IMAX films. You know, Star Trek is definitely on my list. Man of Steel. Wow. Oh, that is on my list of IMAX films to see. I'd love to see Oblivion, which is coming out this year. There's some other movie. Oh, I can't remember. I think After Earth. No, I don't know if it's After. I don't know. But IMAX format for sure. And the 3D, seeing it in IMAX really changed how I feel about 3D films in general. I'm really excited to see more quality 3D films come out. But anyways, there's my review. High praise. I cannot wait for the next film in the Hobbit trilogy. Can it live up? I don't know. And you know what? I'm not going to go with high expectations. I'm just going to hope for the best. You know, it's going to be tough to top this one, though, for sure, because this film it knocked it out of the park. Home run all the way. This is an amazing fucking film. And, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't get the negative reviews. I don't get the people who said that they were bored, because I was thoroughly entertained throughout the entire film. So I don't get it, man. Anyways, this is a great film, so worth going and seeing, and I hope you do, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did, because I was just floored. I was just knocked flat, and I felt it was an amazing film. So, thank you very much. Now I have to figure out how to turn this thing off.